We are diving deeply on what it means to have a solid plan in place for your retirement. We're calling the show, What's Your Retirement Plan? Because as you said earlier, Ryan, so many folks don't know all that goes into it. And I'm curious, when people come in to meet with you for the first time, how often do you find that folks actually have some element of a plan, or is it just more that financial junk drawer?
Yeah, it's more often they don't have a plan than they do, right? And I don't think people understand what goes into a plan, okay? Right. So the first one is an appropriate risk policy. Like if the markets start going down, as your advisor, what are we going to do to mitigate that downside risk, okay? And then you got to look at, okay, when you retire, you're basically trying to solve an equation, and that is, how do I live without my paycheck for the next 30 years and not run out of money or income in that process?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So you've got to have a income plan, all right? And we've got to blend that income plan in with Social Security to make sure that you get every nickel out of Social Security because you've already paid for it. It's rightfully yours.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Once we've got that in place, we have to build an investment plan that supports the income plan, the Social Security timing strategy. Then you got to worry about Medicare, healthcare, right? Healthcare and retirement is going to be a very, very big deal, all right? And it impacts everyone. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. You're going to go on Medicare at 65, all right? If you don't, you're likely going to pay a penalty unless you have group coverage. And then you've got to navigate do you go Medicare Advantage? Do we do a Medigap policy? If we do that, what about IRMA? If I want to do Roth IRA conversions, which brings me to taxes, right? So all these things, taxes are just, I think will be a bigger expense than healthcare in retirement. But you've got to put all those pieces together. And if you do that the right way, what begins to happen is a couple of things. Think about if you're watching the news and the markets are falling. Well, if you have income from Social Security and another guaranteed source to sustain your lifestyle, do you have to worry about it?
You don't.
You don't,
no.
right?
You can sleep well at night knowing that your income need is going to be met.
Going to be there regardless of what happens with the stock market, the economy, interest rates, presidential elections, midterm elections, doesn't matter. But so many people don't know how to do that, all right? So part of building a plan is allowing us to look at a 10,000-foot view of what you have. What's the lay of the land? What are the gaps? How do we fill those gaps and put you on a path to where you can live the rest of your life that you've earned and you've worked for with peace of mind and confidence and be able to go out into the world and spend money with confidence, even though the stock market's going up, down, or sideways.
Now, you mentioned this earlier in the show, and I think it's important to go back to. You said that a lot of advisors out there don't even talk about half the subjects that you're laying out that go into building an overall comprehensive retirement plan. Why is that? Well,
it's interesting, Kristen. If you are working with someone at a bank or a big box retailer or you meet with them at a strip center, they are oftentimes, for instance, not allowed to give you tax advice. And that's, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense because there are things we can do. For instance, tax loss harvesting in your account, direct indexing to mitigate tax liability, Roth IRA conversion strategies that could help save not only your spouse when you die, by the way, fortune in taxes, but your kids too. And what begins to happen is the big box retailers say, hey, go talk to the CPA, all right? CPA says, no, go talk to your financial advisor. So the next thing you know, you're getting ping pong back and forth between these two paddles and you're the ball in the middle, confused about what to do and what's going on.
Right.
Well, we are holistic planners. We have the ability to talk about taxes. And if I can cut taxes, if your tax bill is $20,000 a year, for instance, and by some proper tax planning, I can cut that bill down to, say, $10,000 a year. Well, if you take that $10,000 a year in savings, over a 30-year retirement, and you invest that money at a mere 5% interest rate, do you have any idea what it grows to?
It grows to a lot more than what you started with, right?
$600,000.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're on the couch right now and you're watching this show and it's tax time, you're thinking about taxes, the time to take care of your taxes is not April 15th. It's not January 30th when you should have gotten all of your 1099s and W-2s and all that sort of thing. It is now.
Yes.
It's right now. The best time to do that now. And so if you will take the time to pick up the phone and call us at 844-944-7555, again, 844-944-7555, my team of certified financial planners are standing by right now to help you reduce taxes in your golden years. And that's a really big deal because the less tax you pay, the less risk you have to take with your money. The less risk you take with your money, the less return you have to get.
Right.
The less return you have to get, the less overall need you have, okay? And you prevent your plan or your portfolio from blowing up in a down market.
Right.
So it all has a domino effect, and it's all interlinked with each other.
It does. And success in retirement isn't about how much you have, it's about how much you get to keep. And taxes are one of the biggest detriments, one of the biggest threats to you being able to preserve that wealth. So again, this is just one of many elements that's so important in building that comprehensive, holistic retirement plan. I know we were talking before the show, you're working with someone right now who came in who did not have a plan in place.
Yes.
I think this is a powerful story because I'm sure that viewers are going to be able to relate to it as well.
Well, this is a really interesting story. It's a husband and wife team. The wife retired some time ago, but she has managed all the money. And make no mistake about it, they have done a very good job of accumulating. And they've also been accumulating in a market that's gone relatively up.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
But we sat down, and the look on the husband's face when we went through everything they had, and the meeting was about 3 hours long.
Okay.
She had money at 15 different financial institutions, $7 million across 15 different financial institutions. Okay. They had stocks that had massive gains in them. Okay. There was no tax loss harvesting done. There were annuities out there that were out of surrender and could have been upgraded because of better interest rates. There was no health care plan other than that she had state insurance.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
And all of these pieces were just in a disarray. And so the funny thing is the husband really didn't have any idea how much money they actually had. And then he was like, okay, look, there's no possible way we can manage this at 15 different financial institutions. So we've got to start going to work right now and trying to figure out how to put these pieces together.
And consolidate it, yeah.
This is, it's mind-boggling what we're able to do with these folks. But more importantly, the wife thought she was doing the right thing the whole time. She didn't want to have all her eggs in one basket.
Right. She probably had heard, I want to be diversified, and that translated to having all these different things, but they weren't working comprehensively together.
They were not working comprehensively together, for sure. And so in the end, what's going to wind up happening here is we're going to build for them the most important thing, because they're wealthy. They've got $7 million, okay? So it never makes sense to risk something you already have for something you don't need, okay? So we've got to greatly reduce the risk in their portfolio. And what we saw when we did a portfolio analysis as part of our certified financial plan is the loss potential in a down market was over $3 million.
Wow.
Okay.
Meaning if they continued on track with what they had been doing, that's how much they could have potentially lost.
If we have another 08, another COVID, another 2022, they were in a scenario where they could lose $3 million. And I asked them that. I said, listen, guys, if you lost $3 million, how would it make you feel? And the husband's like, well, I just retired. It wouldn't make me feel good at all. All right. And so as part of their plan, we're going to put together a risk mitigation strategy. We're going to tie into his Social Security benefits, one to time those. Her pension benefits are already coming out. Her Social Security is already coming out, which I wish I'd have known her before she took Social Security, because he makes good money. They've been paying a ton of tax on the Social Security benefits.
Which could have been avoided,
Which could have been avoided. And and it's just one of those things, Kristen, is these folks are smart. They're educated. They're not dumb by any means. But we just don't know what we don't know.
Right. And what you don't know can hurt you.
For sure. And they don't teach this stuff in school.
No.
There's no financial planning class 101 taught in college or high school. There's just not. And so that's why we do what we do at Allied Wealth, is we know these types of things are out there. And everyone deserves a right, or has a right, to have a written comprehensive financial plan and put the pieces together. And this meeting here is just one that stands out to me. This was not work for me. This was it was a lot of fun to go through this exercise, and just watching the husband. Usually I'm watching the wife for a read. Watching the husband in this case was really, really interesting. And here's the thing: their income needs are about $120,000 a year. So their son is going to inherit the majority of this money. Okay. And I've actually talked to the son a couple of times. The son did not know that the majority of this money being inside of a tax-infested IRA, 401k account, all right, when he inherits the money, and he's going to inherit a lot of it, he's going to have to liquidate that account over a 10-year period and pay tax on a large amount of money. He's like, Ryan, I'm already doing well. I don't even need this money from my parents. And if they leave it to me, my income tax bill is going to go through the roof.
Right. Jack him up into several higher brackets.
We're talking like 38%, like as high as you can get. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And so there was no tax situation or tax planning involved. What's really interesting is her friend's a CPA. So it's kind of interesting. So we're going to work for them folks. We're going to mitigate their tax liability. We're going to reduce the risk. We're going to mitigate the son's tax liability. Put the money in a situation to where, yes, they're going to make money in up markets, but not with as much risk as they currently have, to where if the market were to crash, they're not going to lose 30, 40, 50% of their money.
Right. Yeah.
We're also going to reduce their fees. Awesome stuff.
Because a lot of people don't even realize how much they're paying in fees, and I'm sure this was the case with everything scattered around, right?
She thought she was paying under 1% a year in fees with the bank she was at, all right? When I looked inside of her portfolio at all the various instruments they had her money invested in across the various financial institutions, she's paying what she thinks is 1%. The all-in fees are about 1.97%.
Wow.
It's a big deal. It's almost double what she thought she was paying. And if I'm paying double what I think I'm paying, shouldn't I know?
For sure. But so many people don't. And this is why being able to come in and sit down with you and the team, you're going to be able to expose all of that for them.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if this is resonating with you, or maybe you're already working with another financial advisor, but they're not having these kinds of conversations with you, it's time to get a second opinion. And the team of Allied Wealth is here for you. They would love to be able to meet with you for no cost, no charge, no obligation, and be able to deliver to you this complimentary written financial plan from their team of certified financial planners and chartered financial analysts. To claim yours, a couple ways you can do so. Simply call 844-944-7555. Or you're welcome to take out your smartphone. You can text the word PLAN to 21,000, or you're welcome to scan that QR code, and that will get you connected as well.